go into the Ritz-Carlton customer service process applied to a law firm, which I'm super excited about. Then I'm going to be going into 80-20 thinking. So after Michael A. DeMayo, who I am super, super, super excited to have on, might I add, on time, before the buzzer, before 11:05 in the AM, he is here and he is going to be teaching us his Ritz-Carlton customer service process, which I am beyond excited about because, oh my God, he has built one of the most successful law firms in the entire state of North Carolina and arguably in the United States. And he has done this primarily by being a obsessed maniac. Yes, I'm calling him that in a good way, around customer experience. Okay. Because so often we fight so hard to win cases. We fight so hard to get that result for a client. And then what happens? Their interpretation of the result most times doesn't match up with the result. Maybe you set out a big demand letter and they got excited and you CC'd them on it and they thought the case was going to settle for $1 million and it settles for 50. And that actually was a great settlement, but the client doesn't know that. Okay. So we're talking about the Ritz-Carlton customer experience, customer service process. I'm super excited to have Michael on. Just to give a quick lay of the land before I pass the mic to him, we're going to then go through 80-20 thinking exercises, which I've broken into 4 separate categories. Also, right after Michael DeMayo goes, I'm going to show you guys a crazy thing I literally just thought of this morning that I'm going to give away to everyone on today's call. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It has to do with our summit, as my Apple Watch just starts talking to me. Then we're going to go into a PPP update with Rebecca Shepard. And then we have the godfather of legal marketing, Harlan Schillinger, doing a Q&A for the first time ever on legal marketing, wisdom and principles. Michael DeMayo, lay it on us. How can we take things to the next level with customer service?
I don't know if I can live up to that buildup, but I'll certainly try. Actually, I always like taking what people give me. So I'm going to start with punctuality, because unfortunately, I do have a lot of accomplishments in my life, but punctuality ain't one of them. Let's start with that because I am talking about the Ritz-Carlton techniques and customer service, but let's just say I'm not really good at being on time. And part of that I blame on my genetics and heredity. My mom's Colombian, and for those of you that know anything about Colombians, if you get there 4 hours late, you're on time. So the Italian part of me, I don't think that's part of it. But what we're going to talk about today is the difference between relationship building and a business transaction. Okay. And conceptually, this is what it is. If a client comes to you and you have a business transaction, they come to you and basically the relationship is, I'm going to represent you. You're going to charge a third. You're going to do these things for them. You're going to gather their medical bills. You may or may not help the doctor. They're going to get better. Their job is to get better, do what the doctor says. Your job is to get value from them. If you can't get value from the insurance company, I guess you're going to litigate the case. You're going to resolve the case and or get a judgment or result. At the end, you're going to get third or 40%. You're going to exchange values. You're going to take your fee. They're going to get what's left over. Hopefully, they're going to get more. And at the end of the day, that's a business transaction. Sort of like when you go to the mall and buy your daughter a very expensive sweater that she doesn't need. I have 4 teenagers, so it's an experience I live every day, or something of that nature. Well, then that's a transaction. It's transactional, it's done. If on the other hand, you've built a relationship with that client, okay? And by relationship, I mean you've built a relationship to the standpoint that they feel and or know that you've gone out of their way to become their friend and or have done more than the business relationship either was laid out for them in a framework and or their expectations, then you have what we call DeMayo disciples for life, okay? And then you don't have to advertise to them. You don't have to say anything. They will go out of their way to bring you clients in droves, okay? They will literally bring their mothers, their brothers, their sisters, their fathers, their uncles, their friends, people they don't even know, to become your new clients, because either consciously or unconsciously, what do you do for friends? You make sure your friends eat. You make sure your friends are taken care of. You make sure your friends go to your dentist or your lawyer or your doctor. Why? Because you want to make sure they're taken care of. That's a relationship. If your mom got sick, you're going to send her to anybody? No. You're going to send her to someone you care about and you think's going to do a good job. So the funny part of that too, I always tell our staff, guys and gals, we really can only muck this up because the clients that are referred come in predisposed. We're going to do a good job. I use a different word, but my youngest is trying to make me lose, especially during certain seasons of the year. We have what's called a swear jar. They come in predisposed. We're going to do a good job. Okay. And all we can do is muck it up, so to speak. Okay. So let's talk about customer service, but let's weave in that punctuality thing. All right. So I'll give you an example. About a month ago, let's say a certain individual was going to see his son, who is in Ithaca, New York, because he hadn't seen his son. He was up there his freshman year. I have twins. One's local, and I don't know how the kid got into Cornell because he's got my brains, but whatever. He's up there and you have to quarantine a bunch of stuff. I wasn't exactly timely arriving at the airport. Let's put it that way. Somehow I had in my brain that you got to be there 30 minutes. Well, everyone on God's green earth knows you have to be there 45 minutes. I was bringing more warm clothing than probably should be allowed, suitcase bigger than you can imagine. And I was trying to bring 3 articles of suitcases and on the plane. I arrived 26 minutes before the flight was to depart. I got on that plane. I got on the plane with all 4 articles and I was told no multiple times. But I built relationships along the way by being sincere, by being genuine, and probably a little desperate. But the reality is, first of all, they know me, unfortunately, at the airport, at the priority desk. Oh God, DeMayo, you are always late. I know, but I thought it was 30 minutes. No, you know it's 45 and it's an hour for international. I haven't seen my son all semester. I want to go lay eyes on him. Who knows what the heck he's doing? He's telling me he's studying, he's got some friends, whatever. And the gentleman was literally rebooking me for 6 o'clock. And I said, no. He says, well, I can't do it. I said, well, ask the supervisor. Supervisor's going to say no. Well, you can ask. No, she's going to say no. She always says, just ask. And here she comes and I tell her, I haven't seen Blake, And she calls. Yeah, we'll do it. So then I run, drenched. I'm wearing black because I've got the COVID-16 going on. Everyone else got Pelotons. I decided I wouldn't work out for 6 months. I get there and I have this technique. I had a hanging bag with like every warm sweater I own. I don't know, Blake's a lot thinner than his daddy, but I figured I'd get it all the warm, because it's a little cold in upstate New York. I don't know where all the participants are. So I figured I'd bring him all that stuff. I bought him a couple of Ugg boots. I'm a single dad, so I kind of overcompensate. And I'm getting there. I don't get to the plane, so I'm thinking I'm going to put the one suitcase in the hanging bag. Oh, I'm smart. And I've got that stewardess who's very rule follower. Oh, Lord. And she's, no, you got to check one of those. And instead of being kind of, okay, that's fine. I'm drenched in sweat. And I say, can I have water? No, this is the little something flight of whatever, and we can't do it. By the end of the flight, we had a relationship where not only was she bringing me water on the sly, but she was giving me stock tips. Okay.
Wow.
So the relationship can happen even when you're a dirtbag and you get there late. You're not trying to break the rules, but you have issues that you can't be there on time. So the reality is I'm working on listening more, talking less. I'm working on being on time. That's a heredity. It's not my fault. But anyway, so let's get into this. At our firm, and I don't know that we're hitting it. I wanted to issue that disclaimer during COVID. But when COVID first hit, we were not prepared. We weren't. We were not prepared for what's called the distributive workforce.
And you have over 100 team members at your firm, right?
125, I think, in any
Wow.
We started scrambling. We ordered a bunch of laptops and whatever, but so did everyone else, right? So there was a little bit of a backup. So we bought a bunch of Chromebooks. Apparently were readily available, but our director of IT was very clear, and Mr. DeMayo, you can't hook up to what we have. It's a problem with security. So I started thinking our clients are probably feeling the same level of anxiety and security. So we just started calling clients, not about their case, but just to check in on them. So we just got about 10 or 12 people on Chromebooks. We had their names and we just started calling them. How you doing? Not really calling about your case. We know that all the doctor's offices are closed, but how you doing? When we ran out of a couple thousand cases, active cases, we started calling the old closed cases. And they're like, what are you doing? We're just checking on you. You just checking on us? Yeah, why not? But my case is closed. Are you guys a little confused? No, we're not confused. And the amount of goodwill, legitimate goodwill. And by the way, everything I'm going to tell you today, if you're not going to do it sincerely and legitimately, you don't hang up on a Zoom, but just throw this away. I gave the same presentation about 3 years ago. Harlan forced me into it, trial lawyers. And I remember preparing it, and the paralegal said, you're giving away all our secrets. I go, so what? No lawyer at that seminar will do it. They won't do it. They're lazy. They don't care. They don't care. They just want to make money. Okay. I'm going to tell you a secret. Okay. A very big secret. Everyone listen. If you put your client's interests first, you're going to make more money than God. You're going to be more successful than your competitors, and you won't be able to hire staff fast enough. That's our problem. You know, I go to these seminars with I'll call them the 800-pound gorillas, and they talk about marketing and this and spending more money on this and that. And I'm going, how the heck do I get enough people to answer the phones? That's my problem. That is our problem. All right. So what we provide at our office is not good. It's not excellent. It's extraordinary. Can't live without us customer service. Okay. What does that look like? It looks like setting expectations and constantly exceeding them. Not unreasonable or lowering your expectations of anybody, but expectations. So what happens if you go to a restaurant, for example, and you expect you're going to get a certain amount of service, you're going to get a certain price point or food, and just something different happens that creates a different feeling. You're going to go out and you're going to be a disciple of that restaurant or of that server. Or let's say you go to get your car fixed. They say, oh, you know, we took a little bit longer. We're going to cut a little bit here. We're going to bring the car to you. Or we found something that you probably wouldn't have known about. We fixed it and we didn't charge you. What are you going to do? You're going to say, I am going to go out of my way to take care of this particular mechanic or this particular shop, right? If you can distinguish yourself on that, who cares if the 800-pound gorillas in your neighborhood or in your city or in your state, you will blow the doors off of them. Now, the bad news is a lot of the 800-pound gorillas are my friends, and they've come to visit me and they've adopted some of my techniques. But you can still build a loyal following, a client base. So what we try to establish is two things. Can't live without us customer service, and we want to make everyone what we call DeMayo disciple. A little blasphemous, but we're not trying to go in that direction. Customers for life can be built regardless of how small your budget or your legal team. If you have the dedication, desire, drive, and passion to deliver extraordinary, above and beyond excellent customer care. You know when you talk to a client if they're not satisfied, okay? What we have done with COVID, and I know some of your older clients maybe are not that comfortable, but we require a Zoom or because talking to someone and not seeing their facial expression, you really don't know, yeah, sure, that's fine, versus, yeah, sure, that's fine. I mean, they may be giving you the finger while they're saying, yeah, that's fine, okay? You can tell more about how you're playing to your audience by how they're reacting with their nonverbal cues. I generally can figure out, what are we lawyers, litigators? I mean, theoretically, we're taught to read a jury. We're taught to listen. You know, good trial lawyers are better listeners than they are talkers because they're trying to establish credibility. They're trying to establish sometimes vulnerability, but they're trying to connect, right, with a jury. That's what they're trying to do. Because honestly, if you can connect with the jury, you can tell them the guy fell 10 times, wasn't paying attention. They'll still pay your client if they believe your client. And more importantly, they feel like you're telling them what's the most important thing. You tell them the good and the bad. They feel that you're not telling them the whole story. They're not going to really listen to you. All right. I hate to say it, but I've done an analysis of the types of Hey, Harlan, it's always nice to see your darling, lovely face. There are different types of customer service. So I always ask this question. If I was hurt today, would I use your office? And I'm saying I'm you. I'm in your seat right now. Would I use your office if I was seriously hurt, or God forbid, if a family member was killed? And forget about the legal skills. You might be 2 or 3 years out. Okay. Would I be treated the right way? Would the phone call be picked up in the first 2 rings? Would a human being pick up the phone call? I'm very anal about that. These law firms that have the automatic system, good luck to you. Vaya con Dios. I don't think that's the future. That's too much of the future. I mean, people connect with human beings. They don't connect with an automated system. All right. If you had to evaluate, if you went through your customer experience right now, what grade would you give your firm? One option is horrible. The other option is bad. The next option is okay. Seriously. The next option is good, very good, great, excellent, or extraordinary. I hate to tell you, but right now there's 193 people listening. I bet I wouldn't find a lot of extraordinaries. Now, does your firm size and structure matter? Well, firm size, firm culture, firm structure, firm brand, firm customer service. So those are all important things, but you've got to decide what you're going to be and who you're going to be to your clients. If you're a small firm, you can't be everything to everyone. Let's say you're a niche firm. Let's say you just do workers' comp, or you just have a motorcycle niche. Whatever it is, you want to be the best at that, but the best at that includes the customer service component. I guess it merits where I got the Ritz-Carlton experience from. Many, many, many years ago, when I was a young lawyer and I didn't have a whole lot of money, I used to go to a seminar in Buckhead, and they would hold it. And I remember going for a couple of years. I couldn't afford to stay at the Ritz-Carlton. I would stay with friends from law school that lived in Atlanta. And the first year I worked till about 5 or 6, and I drove to Atlanta. It was about 11 or 12 at night. And I got there and they greeted me, "Hello, Mr. DeMayo." I'm like, wow, this is a pretty cool hotel. And I realized my name was on my bag, so not as impressive. And I get to my room. It's 12 at night because I'd worked all day. And I go, oh man. In those days, I wore contacts, and I said, I forgot my saline solution. And I said, I said to the gentleman, help me with the bags, where's a 24-hour Walgreens or whatever it was in those days? And he said, well, what do you need? And I said, no, we'll get it for you. You'll get it for me? Yeah. And about, 20 minutes later, knock at the door, and he has my saline solution. I go, well, what do I owe you? Absolutely nothing. Well, how about if I tip you? Absolutely not. Well, I'll show them. So a couple of days later, when I'm checking out, I look at my bill. I think I scared the person I was checking out with. This is wrong. And everyone in the lobby is like, oh my God, what is wrong with this guy? I said, you guys bought me some saline. No, Mr. Mayo, that's on our hotel. What? What are you talking about? No, someone paid for that. No, we gave that to you. You're confused. I told the person, no, we're not confused. So I went back and read the Ritz culture. This is their little credo, by the way. The Ritz has this thing where everyone in their organization, from the janitor up to the GM, I don't know if anyone knows this, has a $2,000 check writing right to make a customer's experience extraordinary. Yeah, wow. So when I went to give this speech for Mr. Schillinger, okay, it was at whatever the hotel was, the W, but I have become a disciple of the Ritz. So I stay at the Ritz, and I'm getting in those days, I was a little bit healthier. I get my crazy lemon water or whatever. And the lady in the club had recognized that, and she bought me on the second day, because she knew I was walking to give my seminar, a water with my lemons and whatever. And I was like, haha, you use the Ritz check, whatever. She goes, no, I bought this on my own on the way into work. And I go, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. I stole that, if you will, and said, we're going to call it the DeMayo Extraordinary Customer Service. I want to give them some credit. All right. So the one thing is, I would start tomorrow. Do you know where your clients come from? Are they referred by? Do you survey your clients on how the service and customer care they receive from your firm? If you have people going out tomorrow or in the next week, you need to know. So here's some things, and I'm just going to kind of zip through this because I want to get through kind of the nuts and bolts, and then we can go to questions. How often do you survey your clients? When do you survey your clients? Number two, what percentage of your clients come from referrals, and how certain are you of your tracking internal information? And I said this before. Number three, if a family member was seriously hurt or killed, would you use your own firm? Would you want someone or your firm handling to maximize the value of your estate? Why or why not? Ask those questions. Who does the training? What's the size of your firm? Who does it and how? I'm going to give you the following steps. These are a few ways to develop relationship-based customer service connections. These are just a few steps that you can utilize to ensure a touch. These are touch points in a client's experience to ensure that your law firm is providing exceptional customer service. I would ask these questions of your firm. What's the difference between excellent service and exceptional? What does it take to motivate clients and customers to turn them into disciples? What does it take to elicit an emotional response? And why are relationship building behaviors versus transactional ones, while similar in appearance, so different in both the initial impact it has on the person and the long-term effect it has on the number of new cases generated from all of the added possible referrals? And honestly, there's a book that the Ritz-Carlton has. The Ritz-Carlton model basically focuses on the fulfillment of unexpressed wishes and needs by creating a strong emotional engagement between the customer and the staff. In their case, so that the customer would never consider staying anywhere else. But in our case, what does our personal injury client really want when they go through this experience? Okay, what are they feeling? Well, hopefully they're physically hurt, or they shouldn't be our client. Okay, they're feeling fear, they're feeling uncertainty, like they're alone.
Michael, just to jump in, I think it's compassion. When all it's just saying is, how do you feel? When you die, nobody's going to judge you by how much money you have. They're going to judge you by how you made people feel. And
Right.
this and really, at the end of the day, I think this really comes down to compassion. I've heard this speech. Sorry, I jumped on a little bit late. And I asked you to do this for the National Tri Lawyers, which was considered one of the best speeches or most well-received presentations to date in the last 12 years that we've done this conference. If we know that this works and we check into Ritz-Carltons and we check into the W's and this, why is there such resistance from so many lawyers out there to take their firm in this direction?
The reality is, I believe that regardless of who you're serving and regardless of the practice and regardless of the sophistication of your clients, people know if you give a crap about them or if you don't. And at the end of the day, I hate to say it, some folks in our profession don't give a crap of the people they take care of. I wish that wasn't true, but when I go to a Ritz-Carlton, I'm not sure how they get an organization of, 50 or 100,000 employees across the country, but that model has driven that brand to tremendous success and has left the competition in the dust. I mean, it really has.
Well, one of the things I think that they do very well, and I think that we should all do well, and first of all, this audience is made up of a number of different practices, but every single one of them will benefit from this conversation. This is one of the single most important conversations we could have, because the quality of your business is everything. The value of the case is everything. And this revolves around, referral business and such. And the best case that comes into your office, no matter how much money you spend on television or what have you, I believe, I've done this for a couple of years, is going to be a case that's referred to you.
Without,
And there's no question. I mean, the stability of the client, there's a number of different reasons, that it's true. We do these podcasts week after week, and I'm convinced that 90% of it go in one ear and out the other. We acknowledge it. But the truth of it is what's separating you from everybody else in your practice, in your marketplace.
Harlan, I'll be honest with you. When I first started, I was a young lawyer. I didn't have literally any money. You know the story. I mean,
I do.
I literally started with 2 credit card advances of $5,000. I'd saved $5,000. I borrowed other 2 $5,000s. And my goal was paying my one employee who I'd gotten from, I was paying half her salary. The other was through vocational rehab. She was a breast cancer survivor. And the goal was making the $1,000 nut, literally. because I had to come up with $1,000. There's all kinds of creativity just literally to pay her $1,000. It's crazy. And I would go to these seminars and everyone would tell me I was wrong. I was building it on the customer experience and that, and everyone's like, no, it's on this, and it's on advertising this. And it was just funny seeing them all come and wanting to come see my operation. And my thought was, like any business, you build it on a foundation. I always thought that, and I honestly believe, not just in our industry, service is dead. You go places, they ignore you, they don't talk to you. And I'm like, wait a minute, are they paying you to talk on the phone or to help us find something or do something? And I'm a little anal about it. I'm anal how we answer the phone. Like, I'll call what I call silk stocking lawyers. Hello. I mean, the guy's making $800,000 a year. I know, because his billable rate is $1,500. I go, and I'll literally say, that's not how you answer a phone. You answer the phone. Hello, this is John so-and-so. I mean, at our office, I answer, this is Michael DeMayo. How can I help you? It's professional friendliness. Identify who I am. Okay. I know it's an internal call because calls don't come directly to me. I'm setting the tone. I'm identifying who I am. I'm setting the scene. Okay. I'm friendly. I'm professional. I'm here to help you. All in 2 words. Well, a few more words. This is Michael DeMayo. How can I help you? Okay. We are the South, but I don't care where you are. Okay. You need to be professional. You need to be friendly. You need to set the tone. I know that any Ritz-Carlton I go to, they're going to treat me, whether I'm staying at the club level or whether I'm staying at the Super Saver, use some sort of coupon, whatever rate, they're going to treat me like the king and queen of the ball. And I always say that if we're not going to do that with any client we have, then let's not take that client in, period. Okay. And the first $1 million case I got, I was way too young, way too experienced. It came from a $10,000 soft tissue injury case. And I worked my behind off, okay, with my one other lawyer against the biggest firm in North Carolina at the time. They had like 250 lawyers. And I remember them looking completely confused at the mediation because they were like, well, where are your other lawyers? And I'm like, there's just 2 of us. And they're like, you've been motioning us to death, because they've been motioning us. I'm like, for every motion we get, we're going to send them 3. And they send it at 5. We're going to send it at 5:30 and 6. I'm like, no. Building relationships takes, I'll tell you the answer, Harlan. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes effort, and it takes sincerity, and it does take compassion. And if you give a crap about human beings, which hopefully we all became lawyers because we want to help people. When people ask what I do for a living, I don't say I'm a lawyer. You know what I say? You know what I say?
You help people.
No, I don't even say that. I fix things for a living. They go, are you a plumber? I go, sort of. They have to dig. All right, so let me get through what relationship building customer service looks like at a customer focused law firm. Number 1, at our offices, there's a phenomenal team of energetic, happy, positive front desk personnel. By the way, we haven't allowed human beings meaning clients, in our offices for 7 months, but let's assume COVID's not going on. Positive front desk personnel always have a smile on their faces and comport themselves with grace and class. They're always professional, dressed to impress, and painstakingly polite with everyone. Clients often refer to them as the Spanish models because they're bilingual. Spanish models because they're always dressed so nice. They are bilingual. We also have a separate concierge, okay? So when you go to the Ritz-Carlton, there's a concierge, right? Well, at the DeMayo offices, baby, you get, wait a second, I'm going to give you the full effect. There's DeMayo water, DeMayo cookies, DeMayo napkins. Yeah, Ginny has taken away my DeMayo cookies. I've instructed her. But if you've been here more than once, very simple, unexpected, we know what you like. We know what snacks you like or what soda you like. And they'll ask, do you want your coffee with cream or not? And we'll offer that. And we have not a negative drive-by. We have a drive-by. Their case manager or someone will walk through the lobby and just say hello. The little things matter. The concierge, that's their job. Beverage and snack of choice. If you look behind me, okay, our office has no hunt scenes, no law books, okay? Our clients have never been to a law office. I don't want them to feel uncomfortable. I want them to feel comfortable, okay? Law offices, look horrible. Okay. They don't look inviting. So we have a local artist who luckily I bought when he wasn't that good or that famous. And people say that we have his gallery here, but we have 3 floors of his art. And where our staff works in the expansions, I bought his art as well. He literally comes here every once in a while to look at his art. But it's inviting, it's comfortable. The drive-bys, drop-ins. If one of the paralegals, case managers, attorneys, clients there, they just say hello. When it rains, we have, you don't have to be a big client or a little client.
Drum roll, please.
Oh, no, it's not drum roll, but DeMayo umbrellas. Not the piece of crap ones, but the golf ones. I don't know what they cost us. I probably don't want to know, but we have that. When you settle a case, you get all kinds of doodads. There's a whole bag. I'm not going to go get that, but you get a DeMayo pen and you get, people love these DeMayo watches. Silly stuff. Okay. The entire law firm is taught how to answer the telephone in a certain way. This is Michael DeMayo. How can I help you? I am a nut job that the phone is answered within 1 or 2 rings. Okay. In the old days, when we didn't have these big phones that you can't tell, we would have like 15 or 20 lines. If the phone rang more than twice, I'd pick it up. I'd say, good morning, good afternoon, DeMayo Law Offices. I'd get an adjuster, a lawyer. Why are you answering the phone? And I would always say, because apparently no one else can. I'd say, how can I help you? And it would drive the rest of the staff bonkers. But I wouldn't get mad at anyone. I figured everyone else was busy. If someone's calling you, if they're an existing, now vendors and collection agencies, we don't need to really be jumping. And you need to prioritize. Clients and new clients need to be answered on the second ring. We decided a couple of years ago, we don't work for adjusters. We don't work for collection agencies. Collection agencies, we don't take their calls. They need to communicate with us by email, okay? You can control the volume that comes into your office, and that's how you give exceptional customer service. You don't let people control you. I train the receptionist with a mirror. If you're not smiling, don't pick up that phone. Good morning, DeMayo Law Offices. How can I help you? If I can't see this, do me a favor. Let me pick up the call. Okay?
Oh my God, that is amazing.
We all have bad days. Okay. In my world, bad days mean 3 phone calls with Allstate, Nationwide, Progressive, now Geico, and probably every insurance company. So in the early days, people thought I was a little wackadoodle. They would see me walk through the threshold of my office. Now my office is a little bit bigger, and I would do this. Okay. And I'd walk through, let's say, meeting a new client or whatever. What this said to me was, okay, wipe the slate clean, throw it away. I'm having a shit day. No other way to say it. You've talked to a bunch of inhuman individuals that work for the devil, okay, the insurance company, okay? The person you're getting ready to meet has never met you. They expect someone who's positive, who's upbeat, who's going to kick tail on their case, who's going to tell them all the great things you're going to do for them. They don't need the baggage that you're bringing in. They don't need the fact that, in those days they were smaller, that your kids are driving you bonkers. They don't need the fact that Cole said he got an A on his test, but he really didn't. They don't need that, one employee is not doing what she said she was doing. They need, hey, how you doing? This is what we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. Or they need, I'm really sorry that you lost your mother or your son in this case. And this is what we're going to do. Right now, you need to mourn. Normally we'll be all over you, calling you and this and that. For the first 45 days, we're not even going to talk to you. We're going to gather information. We're going to, hire an accident. We're going to do whatever we need to do right now. You do what you need to do. You bury your loved one. We'll get back to you. So everything's different. All right. So we are like any other superior customer service driven centric organization. All our employees understand that relationships they form with our clients precede our impact and our ultimate financial results. And we try to find this out by surveying the clients. A significant indicator of our success and can't live without us is, even during COVID, last month, our new cases was right at 52% referral from past clients. So when COVID hit, I'm in a lot of groups and we share information, and people's businesses were down X%. We were down, but we weren't down the percentage of everyone else because, I mean, we were preempted by political on TV. Harlan did an amazing job by moving us to digital, billboards, all kinds of other creative stuff. But, you know, referrals, referral. You don't pay for it, but you pay for it by doing the right things.
Let me just clarify something.
All right,
So basically what you're saying is hire talent and teach them tactics. Hire personality, I mean,
well,
and
a
teach
little
them
bit more.
tactics. That's the Ritz-Carlton way.
First, I want everyone to write this down. I want each of you, after we get off of this, to do quick law firm audit. I'm going to call this both an audit, and here's some things you can do. I'm going to give you 16 things you can do to change your maybe good to very good, excellent, to exceptional. Every touch point, instead of being an okay or a good, should be a wow. It doesn't have to cost money. You don't have to brand everything. You have to give your staff, Harlan, the ability and the authority to solve issues and problems for clients. Okay. So I still haven't figured out, because it's not ethical, the way to give everyone here a $2,000 check. You can't really do it that way. Okay. But the ability to eliminate and reduce frustrations that our clients experience empowers individuals on both sides of the equation to solve problems or concerns and move forward. Think about it this way. What is the consistent biggest complaint that your clients have? Well, instead of waiting for it to happen, anticipate it and fix it before it's the complaint. For us, it's usually communication. So what we try to do is we try to anticipate. So the biggest thing the customers will say to us is, I didn't know that. No one told me that. Okay. So when we sign a client up, I know it's not been a successful sign up if the client is calling us within a week and asking some of the questions that we should have gotten into their brain at the sign up. A good sign up for us should last about 45 minutes because we are setting a framework, if you will, not only the pendency of the case is and responsibilities are, but kind of a time frame. Well, you can't really give them a time frame because it depends on their treatment, their injury, and a lot of things are going to change or are subject to what the doctor says, what the treatment is, all kinds of things. During COVID, it's been a number of different factors, right? And sometimes it is candidly that the client either doesn't have the capacity or just didn't listen. Is a DeMayo teenager, you tell it to him 8 times. I told you this, son. Yeah. Okay. Well, you got to tell them over and over. All right. And they still don't hear it. I'm talking about DeMayo children, not your clients. So, but the reality is you have to be patient. You have to keep telling them, but maybe you have it in writing. Some people are visual learners. Some people are whatever it is. But if someone is calling us within a couple of days and we haven't even had a chance to set up the case and they're asking about help with the car or whatever it is, then either we haven't done a good job communicating, and sometimes it's just simply saying, I always say, your job is to get better and whatever the doctor says, and our job is to do everything else. And if you do your job and we do our job, you're going to be as happy as you can be. You didn't want to be hit. You didn't want to be hurt. Think about it intellectually. Okay. You're riding along. I always give this example. You didn't do anything wrong and someone smacks into you, not your fault. Okay. And then the next morning, this is the example I give. Someone is at your bed and they say, you can't get out of your bed because your back hurts like crazy. And you can't go anywhere because your car's in a wrecker yard. Okay. Now your boss doesn't really care because he wants you at work. Okay. Now someone's got to take the kids to school, but you don't have a car to do that. Now the boss says, if you don't show up, you're going to get fired, but your back is killing you. All right. Now, none of this was caused by you. Now you've hired this great law firm who's telling you, you can't yell at the person. You can't even talk to the person that did it to you or the insurance company represents them. There's a lot of frustration and there's no ability to vent. Think about that. So then you start screaming at the people that are supposed to help you. And if they're a little pissy, so then that's an issue. So think about all that's going on. So let's say you are a family lawyer. I pity you because I remember a friend of mine saying, you can't win. If you beat up on the spouse, oh yeah, we didn't pay her anything, but that's someone you used to love. If on the other hand, you don't win, I got no money now and I didn't get the kids. I mean, it's always a lose, all right? So take care of your staff. Recognize that they are the biggest part of the equation. Top grading, accept only A players, empower the staff to create clients for life. Now, here's your law firm audit. Number one, who greets your clients from the phone or if they're walking in? How? Is it standard? Is it professional? Are they friendly and inviting every time? Is the greeting warm and sincere? Number two, do you and members of your firm anticipate clients' questions and concerns? If you anticipate their questions and concerns, you're going to be an authority. They're going to say, this guy or gal knows his stuff. I'm at the right place. What do we do with friends? What do we recognize with friends? We recognize things like birthdays and holidays and deaths and births. If a client tells us they've had a baby, they get a baby blanket and a card. I send out sometimes rocking chairs if they've been a real good client with the kid's name on it. We're never throwing that away. And they'll know, oh, my lawyer gave us that rocking chair. Number three is cards. Cards. Okay.
Personalized gifts. Yeah. So greeting.
Okay. Now, right now, because of COVID, I'm doing the cards. So cards in our office look something like this. Okay. So everyone's on the card. So in the past, everyone would sign the card. Now, sometimes the staff would go, oh, Lord, here come the cards. So this is an example. Good afternoon. Can we please send a condolence card to this client? Her aunt passed this Thanksgiving. Thank you. So I will write out the sentiment, and there's 3 lines of staff that are going to sign it. Now, they won't because of COVID. I'll just do it. Do you know how many really sincere thank yous we get from clients? Oh my God, you had everyone in your firm sign that card. All right, number 4, communication. Who in your office initiates it? How often? I thought we had half an hour. Bill, do we not have a half an hour left for answer questions and answers or no?
We have 2 other people presenting. So we have Rebecca. It's fine. Keep going. This is
all right.
This
all right. Number 5, everyone in the organization that touches a client needs to be professional, kind, friendly, patient, empathetic, compassionate, and sympathetic, or they don't need to be a part of your organization. Number 6, everyone needs to be an A player. It's hard to get there, but they need to know what they're doing, and they need to know how to do it extremely well. Number 7, communication. Status updates should be anticipated, meaning on our end, and are given to clients prior to them being requested. So if a client is lighting you up, calling you, that doesn't count in our firm. We have to call them proactively, not reactively. Number 8, expectations should be consistently exceeded on every level at every stage of the case. So as an example, we try on every conversation to find a personal nugget. That's how we find out that the aunt died, or that you recently got a new grandbaby, or that something that doesn't have to do with the case, something that you'd find out about a friend. Hey, you're going hiking this weekend. Where are you headed? Oh, tell me about that. So the next time we talk to the person, we build on that. Okay. That's relationship building. Number 9, client complaints should be individually handled and brought up the chain of command and addressed with the client immediately. You got to give people the authority and the ability to handle things, but your staff needs to understand what they can handle. And then in our realm, because everyone on this call are lawyers, there are certain things that have to be handled by lawyers, okay, ethically. So there are lawyer questions, lawyer complaints that need to be handled by lawyers, and you do that. Number 10, this is probably a regurgitation, but I think it's that important. We treat every client with respect, compassion, patience, and kindness always. You got to remember where they're coming from. They're frustrated, they're hurt. You know, they're literally being told that the person that's caused all this, they can't vent at them. That's kind of hard. That's a hard place to be in. They didn't do anything wrong. Number 11, we sell D-Law always to everyone, everywhere. When I'm out and about, I mean, now Harlan's trying to make me more human. I always used to wear a suit, always. COVID has changed. I mean, look at this. I mean, you know.
Don't be so hard on yourself. It looks great.
Well, but what I'm saying is when I go out in the community, I'm a real good tipper because I used to be a waiter. I think the best interview you can for staff is, were they a waiter or waitress? because they know how to adapt to people, not the other way around. They know if the couple's on a date. They know if the couple's breaking up. They know if it's an elderly couple that wants to talk to you. They know if it's a business meeting. They know a lot of things. If you've been a waiter or waitress and you worked on tips and you were successful at that job, I think you are good at customer service. Clients never have, so this is funny. We've had the front of the house, the back of the house. We're going to change this a little bit. We're a little nutty. We have 13 conference rooms. Huge firms don't have 13 conference rooms. We're going to change that. We have a big, so clients at our place never have access to attorney offices or confidential files. Instead, they are taken from the reception area to one of our 13 conference rooms, and they're escorted to and from these locations. Clients are never left unaccompanied. They're not allowed to wander the office without an escort. I've seen this at other offices. They'll bring the clients into the lawyer's office. The lawyer's office looks like a nuclear bomb has hit it. And they go, oh, that's how I think. Well, that's great. But the client doesn't need to see how you think, piles and whatever. And also the chance of that client seeing file is an ethical violation. So I have a place where you meet with clients in your office that looks clean, that looks, well, that doesn't allow any kind of issues ethically to be violated. Number 13, we always use proper phone etiquette and have a script that exudes professional friendliness. New clients are never put into voicemail. Calls are always answered in 3 rings or less. I'm anal about a few things, and that's one of them. I literally tell staff, if I die and I go wherever I go, hopefully the good place. I'm Catholic, so my death plan is purgatory. My mom was a nun. It's going to pray me up, but that's a whole nother issue. If I die and a nuclear bomb goes off and one person's here and they work in the mailroom, I will come back and haunt their behind if they don't know how to answer the call and get that person signed up the right way. I mean, it's one of my pet peeves. We don't do casual day. We may after COVID. It is going to be so hard to get women back in heels and men back in ties. So we'll see what happens. This 14 may be a thing of the past, but because I like not wearing ties, to be honest with you. Women wear professional attire and men must wear ties. We don't observe casual days. You know what? Don't even write 14 down. I think that's dead. Clients expect us to look and act and feel like a law firm every day of the week. We don't take off a day from being a phenomenal law firm. So maybe we can still be a phenomenal law firm and not look like lawyers. I used to give out all the disbursements. I don't do that anymore. As a general rule, we never take more money than the client. Sometimes litigation, we take more because of expenses. That's 15. This is a big one. A lot of y'all will ask for referrals. You don't ask your friend for referrals. You tell them. When we do the disbursement, I say, now listen, hope you don't get any more accidents. This card is for you. It's laminated. You keep this. You don't give this to anyone. These 2 paper ones here, you give these to someone else. Now, hopefully you don't need us. I legitimately don't want you hurt, but you go out and get us someone else. Okay. And I don't say it like that. I literally say, that's not a third. I cut me down to round you up. You send me someone else that we can take care of. They go, yes, sir, I already did. They usually say, I already did. I say, well, don't stop. Keep sending me someone. I got someone who was hurt last week. I go, well, here are the cards to send them. Okay. I didn't ask for a referral. When I'm training lawyers to do disbursements, I say, do not ask and do not be timid. We have done more than we promised. Now their job is to make us successful, to feed our staff and to feed our kids. Okay. And if you're not proud of the work you've done for the clients, don't ask for a referral and don't tell them to send a referral because you don't deserve it. But if you've done a good job, if you've given them extraordinary, can't live without it, you should not be shy. You tell them to send client. All right. So if you implement the thought processes, concepts, and mind-changing ideas, create the difference in client relationships and changing it from a relationship to transaction, you will be successful. So go out and wow someone today.
First of all, I want to just express gratitude for Michael. It's so inspirational to just see how you were almost like painting this future picture that you want in your reality and these standards. And I just want to really just express gratitude for you raising the bar in an industry that is just so antiquated. So I just want to express gratitude for your visionary capabilities.
I know Michael about 25 years, maybe, and he's had passion since the beginning. And I think that's the most significant reason, the way he's practiced law is that the quality of his business, size of the settlements, the average case value is significantly higher with him because he puts the work in. And I really commend him. I mean, Michael taught me very, very early on, about the sitting at the end of the desk, and correct myself, telling the client that you want referrals. But you also, Michael, talked about, well, I'm going to reduce my fee for you. And you took a hit and made it, a win on the client side. And you did that early on because you didn't have any marketing dollars to spend. And those were your marketing dollars. It's amazing that you've never changed your tune when it comes to client service.
I do still stay at Ritz's because I've become a disciple. You got to walk the walk, talk the talk. We do still cut because the challenge has been in the early days, I was the only lawyer. I wake up one day and I have 13 staff. I'm the only lawyer. And I'm going, this is not sustainable. Working 70, 80 hours. I didn't have kids. I wasn't married, but working 80-hour weeks, that wasn't really going to work for a long period of time. But then when you grow to 60 people and 80 people and 100 people, you have to take that same vision and those same standards and kind of share them and hope that they are being mimicked, if you will, across the board with other folks in the organization. I literally was trying to build relationships in 5 minutes because, in the last 5, 6 years, I never meet the client sometimes until the very end. I still was trying to give out the disbursements. And how was I making a relationship in 5 to 10 minutes, giving out the disbursements? And it was, basically a script. Here you go, here's your money. Here we go. This is what we got for you. That's not a third. I cut my fee some to round you up. So do me a favor, no more recs for you, but send us some new clients, and basically showing them how not only did we promise this, we did this for you. And then at each inflection point in the settlement, it's scripted. This is what we promised. This is what we did. And literally them going, that Michael DeMayo, he's great. He did everything on my case. I'm like, I just met him. And it's not fraudulent because organizationally, we did all the work that we promised. So it's doable. I'm not alone. There are a lot of people in our industry that do what we do for the right reason and do fix things for a living, And I just think that if we remember, sometimes not my colleagues, but I talk to people that are very successful in this industry and they talk about what they've done and their verdicts and their judgments. I always kind of try to bring them back to center. You need to talk a little bit more about your clients and what you're doing for your client. We tend to forget that that's our focus. If we maintain our focus on doing the best job for them, I always used to say my vision statement day one was very simple. But the client's interest first and everything else will follow.
One of the things that I'm pretty adamant about is for lawyers to reread the oath of office, the oath of integrity that they signed when they became a lawyer. It's kind of funny because I've never met a lawyer that actually read it after they signed it, with the exception of the ones that I've insisted that they do that. But if you read that, and it's one paragraph from your bar, it says exactly what to do.
Michael got excited for a second.
Yeah, it says exactly, I will do this. I will act in my client's best interest. And if you simply do that, everything else will fall in place. The money will come, absolutely. The other thing that I'm walking away from with this, and I was hoping that you were going to say this, but recording telephone calls so that you know exactly how your staff operates, I think personally, paramount, because you can't get away from it. You're not doing it to criticize your staff. You're doing it to train your staff.
Coach them.
Coach them, yes. Yeah, that's a better word. Reflection, reflecting back on, well, this is what I heard. When you reflect back on your do's and don'ts in life, you make corrections.
The list, it really is self-awareness packaged towards client experience. It's the question, like you have awareness. And that's like the most important thing I think that could have maybe.
By the way, we're not perfect. We don't always get it right. So we have something called lessons learned. So sometimes when we screw it up, we try to remove who didn't get it right. And we share with everyone and we go, okay, we didn't probably do this the way we would have wanted to do it. Let's study it. Let's share with everyone. And let's not do it this way again. I don't know about y'all, but the law school I went to, Chapel Hill, they didn't give us any business practices. They didn't tell us how to run law firm. They didn't tell us how to hire people. They didn't tell us any of that. They taught me how to research stuff in a law library. I decided, okay, I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm just not allowed to make the same mistake twice. So when I made a mistake, I would write it down. What did I learn? How will I do it? How can I do it better the next time? And I'd write it down. I'd only beat myself up if I did the same mistake twice. When I memorialized it, I wasn't making the same mistake twice. By the way, I'm so brilliant. I made every mistake known to mankind with customer service, I almost feel like I should go back for the first year and give every one of those poor clients a refund because I was practicing law, baby. I was literally practicing. But you know what? Even those clients, the ones in the first year, they still refer me clients. That's Harlan, dare I say it? 29 years ago. 29.
Oh my.
Yeah. The concept, it's so simple. Treat people as you want to be treated and a little bit extra, and you will be uber super successful.
Okay, so legal marketing legend Harlan Schillinger. I had 3 questions for him around legal marketing. My first question for Harlan is, what is the most important legal marketing principle you have ever learned?
Well, practice good law and do what you say you're going to do. You took an oath to practice good law. Practice good law is putting your client first, being very vigilant. I really, really resent lawyers that don't practice good law and have mills. You got to be a good lawyer because your client is depending on you. That's an easy one for me.
The next question is, out of all of these successful lawyers you have worked with, consulted, been involved with, the ones who sustain success over long periods of time, don't have ups and downs, don't have one-hit wonders, what if you were to package the top trait you notice across the most successful law firm owners that have sustainable, almost indestructible success, what is that trait?
That's another easy one. Pay attention to the details. Pay attention to your business. Very often somebody says, well, what's the silver bullet? Well, I do have that silver bullet. Here it is. This is for sale for $2.4 million. This will solve all of your problems.
Wow.
I actually brought that back from the service back in 1973 and had it chromed. The truth of it is the most important thing is to pay attention. Pay attention to your business. Pay attention to your metrics. There are no silver bullets. You could buy media, you could come up with LSAs, you could come up with this, come up with that. But consistently, it isn't any different than the NFL. I always compare, an NFL team. I don't like the Patriots. I'm a Bronco fan, but Bill Belichick says it right. Do your job. Pay attention.
Awareness. They did this big study across billionaires, and they realized that the average billionaire who was surveyed, they always say like, delegate the things you're not good at, push them off. And what they noticed in really successful billionaires in this study is that they're all control freaks. They have all their own ways of caring so much about details, like you said. So that immersive awareness is so fascinating that you answered on that second one. So practice good law.
Well,
massive awareness. Can I do number 3?
Delegating is very, very important because you want to delegate it to get it done and to get it done right. Can't do everything. You have to have people around you. You have to, the adage of surround yourselves with people smarter than you. Yep. Absolutely. There's no question. But paying attention to detail is delegating, having people do their job.
And it's funny, when you listen to Michael, you could tell he cares a lot about how people answer the phone, all these details. And you think, oh, he runs a 125 person firm. He's probably not worried about those details because he's delegated and built that big of a team. And you see his face cringe when he's like, if someone doesn't answer the phone, it's going to go to my office. That's fascinating. Question number 3, Harlan, and then we will sign off. What are the realities about calculating ROI in a law firm?
Well, I think you have to understand what you're actually building, and this is really my philosophy. I do believe it's Michael's and many, many of our friends, is we're building a brand. And when you build a brand, it's what people think of you when you walk out of the room. Now, what's the value of that? You can't advertise a brand and do a brand sell and say, I'm going to translate that into dollars today. I think it's a different conversation. I think you have to have transactional initiatives. I think you have to have brand initiatives. When you're getting back to the ROI, the one thing you do have to do, and I find very few lawyers do this because, I'm obsessed with metrics, is count everything, all the money you're spending to figure out your case. value. I've got a friend that spends, I don't know, $30 million in advertising. Do they include social media? Do they include the pen, that you're marketing, the swag, all of that? Because that's case acquisition money. And so that ROI, you're looking at, well, these are the cases I get from television and it costs me $900 a case. That's not true. I think you're making a mistake in not putting everything into the numbers to look at what your true cost of doing business is. When I had the ad agent, people would come into the office and they would say, this is my cost. I said, well, what about you? What about the labor? Is that cost?
And think about
Are you
Michael
working for
filling
free?
out cards. Think about Michael doing the time investment, that little extra. How do you put a dollar amount on?
You can't put that on the amount, and I'll leave that out. But the cost of the card should be included. I mean, you can't fool yourself. This is what the cost of overhead is, and everything should be attributed to the acquisition. And it's a really important, thing to take a look at when you're looking at ROI and when you're looking at what is it costing me to get a case? What is it costing me to reject a case? What does it cost me to specifically say, we don't do that?
What's the ROI of that too?
Depends on how you say we don't do that, will depend on what the ROI is. Now, do you want to turn that into a negative or do you want to turn it into a positive with the person that you just spent $125 or so to say no to? I mean, this is a business. When we started the National Trial Lawyers, we recognized that this is a business and you have to run it like a business. And in a business, you have to accumulate all of your costs. If you don't, and all of a sudden it creeps up on you and you have no money left. You say, oh, I forgot to add that into the column. Every lawyer that I know of comes into their office. That's a pretty bold statement. Every lawyer. I mean, I know a couple. They walk in, they say, how many cases did we sign? How many calls did we get? And how many cases didn't we sign? And what did it cost me not to sign those people? What did it cost me just to simply say, I'm sorry, we don't handle that kind of a case? Pay attention to that. What you don't know, you don't know. The other thing I'm very proud of that I trademarked is your ambassador of first impressions. That catapults that first person that answers the telephone that Michael spent so much time talking about to ambassadorship. That's like royalty. So those are my parting shots.